Hello, you guys, and welcome back to Hot Girls Eat Carbs. I'm your host, Brittany McChrystal, and this is your safe space of the internet where we chat all things health, wellness, and sustainable weight loss. I am so glad you're here, and I hope that you all are having a wonderful week so far. So, I just wanted to dive straight in and give you a little life recap because I feel like this is just a chit chat time. So, we went to the Australian Open on the weekend, which was so fun. We didn't actually get like the finals tickets because they were ridiculously expensive, but we just watched from the grounds and honestly, it was such a vibe. So, of course, I decided to dress not for the occasion because I wanted to look cute. I was so cold. Like, it was probably the coldest day of the whole entire month. I just wanted to look cute. I didn't realize how cold it was outside, so priorities were misplaced. I was freezing, absolutely freezing. But other than that, one of my best friends, Nancy, was over from New Zealand, so we went out for a nice dinner, and I'm not gonna lie to you, we probably had too many wines. Sunday morning, I woke up feeling a little bit sorry for myself, but you know what? It was such a good weekend. We laughed, we relaxed, and we caught up properly. And even after that, I still managed to go for a run. Don't ask. I am fully in my running girl era right now. I did a 7K run yesterday, and I ran the entire thing, which honestly shook me. Because I used to be the girl that would stop every few minutes and now I'm just out here cruising. It's so funny though, like I can really feel that like my body is like not used to it because like my shoulder was hurting, my back was hurting. I was definitely feeling the 30s. But the crazy part is I actually really love running alongside my strength training. I know. Who is she? Other than that, I've just been creating some recipes, working on some coaching, chatting with my girls. And things just feel really aligned, calm, productive, and balanced. And also, next month, I'm heading to Thailand for 3 weeks to spend some time with my bestie Hannah and Chris Samui. And we're going to train, we're going to create some content. I'll still be working and still recording the podcasts, of course. You know, I would never disappear on you. So I am so excited for that reset. And this kind of brings me into what I wanted to talk about today. How do you actually become the version of you've always wanted to be this year? So today we are talking about becoming the 1% woman in 2026. Not in a toxic hustle culture way, not in a cut everybody off way, and no waking up at 4 a.m. or hating your life way, but in a grounded, powerful, self-led way. Because here is the truth. The top 1% women are not different species. They are not born more confident. They are not born more disciplined. And they are not born with better genetics or better luck. They actually just think differently and they move differently and they protect their standards differently. And that is available to you. Let's start with a fact. High performers are not more motivated than everybody else. Research in behavioral psychology shows that successful people rely far more on systems and habits than they do on motivation. In fact, studies from Duke University found around 40% of our daily actions are habits, not decisions, habits. So if 40% of your day is automatic, the question becomes, what are you automating? The 1% woman automates the right things. She doesn't rely on willpower. She builds structure. She doesn't wake up asking, do I feel like going to the gym? She's already decided that she is the kind of woman who trains. And identity is everything. James Clear talks about identity-based habits. When you change your identity, your habits follow. Instead of saying, I'm trying to get fit, she says, I am a fit woman. Instead of saying, I'm trying to build a business, she says, I am the business owner. The brain works in alignment with identity. Your subconscious will always try to prove you right. So the first shift of the 1% female is, she decides who she is before the evidence fully shows up. Now let's talk about her daily habits. One of the biggest habits of high-performing women is emotional regulation. That sounds boring, but it's powerful. They do not spiral every time something goes wrong. They do not let one bad weigh-in ruin their week. And they do not let one rejection make them quit. Studies on resilience show top performers experience stress at the same level as everybody else. The difference is how quickly they recover. Psychologists call this stress recovery rate. The faster you return to your baseline after a setback, the more successful you become long term. The 1% woman does not avoid hard things. She recovers faster from them. She feels it, processes it, and moves forward. She does not live in reaction mode. The other habit is deep focus. In a world where everybody is scrolling, multitasking, consuming, distracted, high performers protect their focus like it's gold. Research from the University of California found it takes 23 minutes to fully refocus after being distracted. Think about that. Every notification, every scroll, every random interruption. The 1% woman creates focused blocks in her day. She works intentionally, she trains intentionally, and she rests intentionally. She is not chaotic with her time. And here is something that people do not talk about enough. The top performing woman rest. Burnout is not a badge of honor. Chronic stress raises cortisol. Elevated cortisol increases abdominal fat storage, impacts sleep, increases cravings, affects mood, and cognitive performance. The woman at the top understands that her nervous system is her asset. She sleeps, she walks, and she fuels her body properly. She does not starve herself in the name of success. In fact, research consistently shows that adequate protein intake supports muscle mass, cognitive function, and metabolic health. Strong women think better, lift better, lead better. Which is why I will always say this. You cannot build a high-performing life in a low-energy body. Let's stop romanticizing the 1% woman for a second and actually talk about how you can become her. Because in 2026, we know the truth. She is not born, she is built, and she is built through intentional training. Step 1. Train emotional control like a muscle. The 1% woman knows that motivation is a fair-weathered friend. In 2026, psychological studies on cognitive endurance show that successful people treat their willpower like a battery. They don't waste it on internal arguments. When you feel unmotivated, don't negotiate. Set a 5-minute rule. Start for 5 minutes and that is it. Action dissolves emotion. If you let a feeling make the decision for you without testing it, you are a passenger in your own life. The 1% woman stays in the driver's seat. Step 2. Separate data from identity. When something doesn't go your way, you must practice real-time data decoupling. Scale went up, data. Post flopped, data. Workout felt heavy, data. In a world of outrage culture, the 1% woman remains objective by asking, what does this teach me instead of why am I failing? Step 3. Build self-command daily. Self-command isn't found in a grand speech. It's found in the mundane. It's built in tiny, quiet wins. Pick one non-negotiable. Maybe it's a 10-minute walk or hitting 100 grams of protein, and do it especially when you don't feel like it. Every time you override an impulse, you strengthen self-trust, and in 2026, self-trust is the only currency that doesn't deflate. Step 4. Zoom out. The 6-month filter. Stop making decisions for right now you. Before you choose, ask, does this help me in 6 months? Most people live in the next hour, chasing that next hit of dopamine. The 1% woman lives in the next season. This is temporal reframing. It interrupts impulse and forces long-term strategy. Number 5, install rules, not resolutions. Negotiation is the ultimate energy drain. The 1% woman has rules of engagement. I do not skip 2 workouts in a row. I do not speak badly about myself out loud because your brain is always listening. I am in bed by 11 p.m. on weeknights. Rules remove the should I and replace it with I do. Step 6. Smart environment design. High performance is often just friction management. If you scroll too much, delete the app. If you want to run, put your shoes by the bed. In 2026, with distractions at an all-time high, the 1% woman wins because she is designed in a world where the right choice is the easiest choice. Step 7. The power of the unseen. This is the elite energy shift. Practice being unseen. Commit to a 90-day goal without announcing it. No day one post, no seeking validation. This trains internal validation. When you can work without applause, you become unstoppable because you no longer rely on the world to tell you if you're doing a good job. Step 8. Have a look at your circle. I want you to have a look at your circle and don't just socialize. You need proximity to grow. Research on social connotation proves that your habits from your fitness to your income are influenced by your immediate network. Spend more time with women who expand your possible. If you are the most ambitious person in the room, find a new room. Step 9, psychological strength. Becoming the 1% woman is psychological. Resistance training has been proven to improve confidence and reduce anxiety more efficiently than almost any other habit. When you feel physically strong, you carry yourself with authority. You tolerate discomfort better in the boardroom because you've learned to tolerate in the squat rack. Step 10, build evidence, not affirmations. Confidence is a byproduct of proof. Don't just tell yourself you're confident, collect the receipts. I went to the gym when I was tired. I posted when I was scared. I ran 7K. Evidence. It all compounds. When your brain sees proof, your identity shifts naturally. And the uncomfortable truth is that it will feel boring. It will feel repetitive. It will feel like no one is noticing. That is the building phase. You don't need to overhaul your personality. You don't need to install structure. Consistency over chaos. Structure over mood. Evidence over ego. If you do these things for a year, you won't just reach your dreams. You will have outgrown them. That is the 1% woman. So if you take anything from today, let it be this. Becoming the 1% woman is not about becoming somebody else. It's about becoming more intentional with who you already are. It's about fewer emotional decisions and more aligned ones. Fewer dramatic resets and more quiet follow through. Less waiting to feel ready and more acting before you do. You don't need a new year. You don't need a new body and you don't need a new personality. You need standards and you need structure and you need to start keeping small promises to yourself because every time you follow through, you are casting a vote for the woman that you are becoming. And that version of you, she is not 5 years away. She is built in the next decision you make after this episode ends. So when you get off this, don't feel hyped and then do nothing. Pick one thing, one standard you're raising, one habit you're locking in, and one area that you are no longer negotiating on. That's how this shifts. Not in a big dramatic glow up, not in a steady self-led evolution, but in the tiny little habits. So if this episode resonated, share it with a friend who is also ready to level up this year. Post it on your story or tag me so I can see where you are listening from. And as always, it would mean the world if you could like or share this podcast. It's how this podcast grows. I love you, I believe in you, and I cannot wait to see the woman you build this year. I will see you in the next episode.